you want to travel with him, and you want to travel blind, and you know she will trust you, for she's touched your perfect trotter with her snout. Hello again. Welcome to Vintage Key Studio. My name is Peter Sewage, and today we're going to be having another look at the Lowrey Heritage Deluxe DSO-1, which we did a video on a few years ago when it was all broken, and now it's all fixed apart from a couple of little bits. I thought I'd just take you on a tour of it again, but with it working this time. Hooray! So, let's just switch it on. And wait for it to warm up a little bit. If you can recall, this one's got quite a lot of valves in the back of it. I spent about 2 weeks and I replaced all of the neon bulbs in the back with some new equivalent versions of it. Checked through the circuits and just sort of made sure everything was connected as it should be, and cleaned everything with the deoxit spray, which did a grand job. But the problem with this thing is I kept finding, because I didn't really have all the schematics for it, well I have, but they're all spread out across loads of different funny documents, and I don't think anyone's actually got a DSO-1 book anywhere, because I've just been using various things. But I kept finding neon bulbs that I'd missed and forgotten about. So I did all of the ones that were on the tone generator huge board at the back, which if you've seen the other video, which is up here, you all have seen it, but we'll show you again in a minute. But there's hundreds of them on the tone generator board. But then there's a load under on the top keyboard as well, and I think on the bottom keyboard as well, can't remember. But we'll have a look in a minute. In fact, it might be worth it if I just undo the top part of it and just show you what I did. Now, if you happen to notice that in the studio it's a little bit cluttered up with pieces of synthesizer everywhere, that's because one of our patrons, a guy called Mark, has given us some synthesizers to have a go with and play, very generously, and so they only arrived yesterday, so that's why they're all stood up against the wall at the moment. But they will eventually be put in place properly, hopefully by the next video. But anyway, here is the organ. It's all switched on and it's all live and very dangerous. So what I did basically is I went through and cleaned all of these. You can see all these little spring contacts. Let's put a sound on just so you can hear. So you press that, there's lots of little spring contacts under there. They are all still looking a little bit worse for wear, but they're much better than they were before. They were all completely covered in grime, and they were some of them are a bit rusty as well, and have oxidization on them. And yeah, I got the deoxit spray, and that kind of cleaned it all off, and then I blew it all out with the blower. And got it all going again. Not all of them work, and some of them have corroded so much that they just fell to pieces when I tried to adjust some of the keys and stuff. So that's the little bit that doesn't quite work on this, is the AOC, the automatic orchestral chord, whatever it is slightly wonky. And the other thing that's not quite right is the pedals, which are still a bit hit and miss sometimes, and with the burbling sound. And I've gone through the whole thing and tried to clean it up as much as possible, and again, some of the contacts have fallen off. And I need to find some new springs to put in there to make new contacts. So anyway, I don't think I did this bit before when I showed it. So if you look under here, you can see, I just hold on to that there. So this is obviously the lower manual here. You can see this mess here. I did that myself because all of those contacts were all completely corroded and fallen off at the top 5 notes. So what I've done is I've just done a very sort of elementary contact thing with a new spring and just wired it all up to the individual wires. So now you can play the last octave, and it doesn't make any difference to how it sounds. But at least it works. You can also see in there that I've replaced lots of these little neon bulbs. And I'm trying not to point too much with my fingers in here because there's lots of volts here. So yes, these neon bulbs here. And then if I put on the... I apologise for that, not very musical. I've got a screwdriver in my hand at the time when I was playing that. And I'm holding on to this at the same time. So yes, everything's just been cleaned. And, oh, the other thing I don't think I showed in the last video was the chime setting. What it's actually doing. Because you've got this... And if I now pull up the chime stop, if you actually look under here, you can see it mechanically moves the chime connectors up. And there's like an extra set of contact springs. So if I push that back down again. So it's like an extra little keyboard contact thing underneath. So that's quite nice. Anyway, let's put that back down there. Trying not to get killed. There we go. Right, now just quickly, we'll just show you the back of it as well with all the new neons in it. There's a what looks like a slightly bodged power supply down here, but I haven't finished that yet. But it works well enough, and it looks a bit crappy, but it's okay. It does work. I'm making a proper board for it. But this is, you can see all down here, there's all loads and loads of neons, and I've replaced all of those there, and all of these ones here as well. And that involves just going through and basically just snipping off all the old ones. Most of the old ones had fallen off anyway, and there was just the leads sticking up. So I've just gone through. So if I just quickly switch the lights off and play a little tune, you should be able to see on the tone generator section all of the lights moving around and dancing about. Okay, we're in complete darkness now. Hello. Well, that bit of video there had to stop. It must have been about 2 weeks ago now. I'm very tired because although I have changed my shirt, I've basically been here since then fixing this. And I haven't eaten or been home. But I finally got it working again. What the problem was, inside the tone generators, there are these little things here, which are called divider couplets. And you can just see that they're sort of like resin encased components. And inside there are little circuits, and it's like a very early version of an integrated circuit. And it's got 8 pins coming out of it, legs, whatever. And so that's basically wired up to the first divider valve, which is, so you've basically got the oscillator valve, which is the big one, then you've got the first divider valve, which makes, so say we've got that, let's just turn that off there. That is the oscillator valve, just playing the top C note there. To get the C below that, there's a divider valve number 1. But you also need these components wired up over the top of it to turn that note, or to divide that note down an octave. And so that you need one of them, and then you need another one of them, and another valve to get that, and another one, and another valve to get that. So what had happened in the video up to that point just now was that one of these had failed. It took a while to work out. I suspected it probably had been this, but I was trying to do everything else because I didn't really fancy having to replace this. So it turned out it was this, and I ended up managing to rebuild one, or make one from scratch. And I've now actually rebuilt, for every note on the organ, there's 12 notes, and obviously going up. 12 notes. And for every one of those notes, it's got 3 of these, and 4 valves, possibly 5 valves for the E for one of them. Anyway, so what I've done is I've rebuilt the divider couplets, and you can actually fit them all on one of these boards. What I did is I made one. There's a photo of one here, the prototype one I made, and I've wired it up to the Lowrey now, and it now, as you can hear, the note that was wrong was this one, which is starting to go wrong. So we had the F sharp up there, then it was this one, and then that one wasn't working either, and that one wasn't working because obviously once one starts going wrong, it interferes with the circuitry for the other 2. If the oscillator valve goes, none of it works properly, but the oscillator valve was working fine. It was just the one below it was a bit knackered. So anyway, let me just see what that says on there. That is a P8647A1 divider couplet. And then the second divider valve one is a P86472, and the third is a P86473. Unfortunately, you can't just go to the shop and say, hello, I'd like to buy a P86473, please. Because nobody knows what, if you look it up, it's usually a BMW car part nowadays, and it probably wouldn't fit in there. So what I've done is rebuilt one on one of these boards, and as you can hear, the whole keyboard now is all working again, and I can even play slightly wrong. Because it took me 2 weeks to work it all out, and I was doing other things as well. I was sort of going to the toilet and things. But that's the schematic of the tone generators in this. So, as I said, the pedals aren't working really properly, but I'll give you a bit of a quick. They're working better than they used to. At least they sound like musical notes as opposed to just like... But as I said, I need to probably take a lot of that to pieces and then remake parts to it, which I will do at some point. I tend not to use the pedals on there because I personally don't think the pedals sound particularly good on this organ. I'm quite satisfied that the upper and lower manuals are working on this now. The one thing that I think I probably will try and mend at some point soon is the manual attack button. If you trigger the notes from the lower keyboard, it sort of sounds quite nice with a soft attack, but if you try and play them from the top keyboard, you've got that at the beginning of each note. And I've had a look on some more of the schematics on other pages, and it's got a pulse line for the attack or something or other, and I was going to sort of try and experiment with that a bit with some resistors and things to see if I could smooth that out. But so far it's been a bit of a nightmare because the wiring in there seems to be directly opposite to what it says in the 3 or 4 schematics showing the attack circuit. One of them's even got a completely different valve in it, one of them. So that's probably going to be another specialist video that'll probably end up just being over on Patreon, because most people will just find it extremely boring. I have only been able to think about this for 2 weeks. Anyway, that's enough technical rubbish. I'll just play a bit now and bid you good evening. Anyway, that's quite enough of that. I might do some more proper videos of me playing something properly sat down when I haven't got a hunched back. Because I'm nearly 50. Well, I should be 50 next year. I was just feeling a bit old and tired. So, on that note, I will bid you Goodwill.